Hey there, Ambarsh. Thanks so much for coming out here and showing us this.
Good to have me.
So you're really going to show us something from the future right now. You know, as much fun as these talks have been, I'm excited to get some real technology on stage. So why don't we kick it off with this demo?
All right, let's do that. Hi, guys. I'm Rish Mitra from Blipper, founder and CEO. And we started this company 4 years ago with a vision, very simple vision, to give you more from the world you see. And you might question that, hey, giving you more, what do you mean by that? I mean, what we see, isn't that sufficient? I mean, that is what augmented reality and visual search are all about. Whatever you see, we still have a lot of curiosities about everyday objects, and that's what Blipper been trying to do. But before we move any further, I'd like to give you a sort of brief history of our evolution, like why we even exist, for those of you who don't know us. So we initially started our journey with this visual browser, which recognized branded objects and gave people instantaneous content. So I'll give you a quick demo of that. So this is a Coca-Cola can. And in the world of Blipper, when you pointed your phone at this can, it would immediately convert into a media player in this case. Just trying to put the volume up. It's meant to be playing a song, but you can't hear it right now. And Coca-Cola's goal was, in a partnership with Spotify, you point your phone at the Coke can and you get one free track every day. And Coke was promoting this by actually putting the Blipper logo on every Coke can, hundreds and millions of this. And this was our core business model, where we could put our logo on billions of branded objects, and people would blip it, and they will get value-added content experience, whether coupons or extra game or some deals or virtual try-on of products. And we did this for almost 4 years. We thought that there was something missing, which was the consumer proposition. We became like a brand marketing experience tool. So we created a deep learning engine for last 2 years, and we processed billions and billions of images and brand partners we worked with. And now what I'm about to demo to you is a true visual search engine, which, without storing images in our database, is able to reorganize facts about most things it sees in the world and give you instant information. It's almost like a Wikipedia of the physical world, but with a lot more value-added content. It is extremely fast, it works real time, and just cope up with it, because from the moment I switch it on, it's going to literally start flying, because there are a lot of things going on over here. So it's the same Blipper app. I'm going to relaunch it. Same Blipper app. It'll say to start blipping on the screen, and it's on. And the moment it starts seeing everything here, it starts cataloging it. So it recognized a bowl, an apple, a lemon, a bottle, flowers, banana, and it starts launching content on the fly. So let me come out of it. So if I click on lemon here, instantly it'll give me more information about places I can buy lemon from. What does lemon mean? I can add my own recipes onto it. If you come out of it and point it on a random, let's say a random movie poster. This is a movie poster of Kung Fu Panda. Again, this is Blipper's native search results, so you can see information about the movie, the cast associated with it. The goal is that the physical world, which drives a lot of curiosity around us, and sometimes our curiosity for questions is so fast that word search makes it a little obsolete. And do keep in mind that we as people, we can't describe everything we are looking at. We cannot physically describe every word. And we are building a technology which organizes 70% of the physical world's information and gives you spontaneous content. To the point where if I even, because we were coming, even if I point it at the Disrupt logo, you'll see basic information about it come out. If I even point it at you guys, like the audience, it says that you are at the Disrupt conference and gives you more additional information because it knows by location that this audience, this geolocation, there's a conference going on today, and it's Disrupt. But keep in mind that this is not location triggered. It actually physically organizes everyday objects. And for when it's looking at you guys, it is looking at a very large audience, and it's figured out that we are in a stadium, and according to geolocation in this stadium today, there's only one event going on, that's TechCrunch Disrupt. It is not restricted to static objects or people at all. It can work on every living creature. And this particular forum is not ideal to demo it. The best way to enjoy it is to go out on the street and blip every little thing you look at. But we definitely want to show you on a living object here.
Oh.
It's a kitten. and that's Charles, who works at Blipwhite Product Development. And this is Hercules. This cat just got imported from Greece by our chief operating officer. But when you, again, look at Hercules, immediately it recognizes it in real time and gives you more information about the kitten itself and how do you look after it, associated articles, videos, all about that. So what we are launching, this comes out in 2 weeks. 75 to 80% of world's physical world information would be organized and you could just point your phone at it. Today, its intelligence is like a 6-year-old, and slowly it'll become like an 18-year-old within the next 6 to 7 months when hundreds and millions of users start using it. Today, it's quite broad, and from broad, it becomes narrow. So it can recognize a car or a table, but it won't tell you this table is from IKEA or that car is from Toyota. But that's the start of something new, and slowly it'll go towards narrow down. But keep in mind that this is totally real time. You're just pointing your phone's camera. You're not taking any photos. It's literally live, connected on your 3G connection, real time. Thank you very much.
Give him a hand for that. That's pretty cool. So that's pretty impressive. Even without the new stuff, without it being able to recognize every object, you guys already have about 60 million registered users and 3 million monthly active users.
Yeah.
You guys have raised $45 million. So people really believe this is the future. But for a second, I want to just cut through all the buzzwords.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you, it's cool, but what problem does this solve?
It solves a very big problem. I mean, the business is built on 3 core philosophies, which one shouldn't ignore. I mean, do keep in mind that our eyes is a primary sensor to the human body, and 80 to 90% of our cognitions comes from vision. And we're already seeing this behavior being manifested. People are not afraid of pointing their phone's camera at things. This is a very organic behavior. The second reason is that we take it for granted how many people surf the internet, but 1/7 of the world can't even read and write. The remaining 2/7 of the world has very basic literacy, but not good enough to read a book. And 4/7 of the world, where people like you and me belong, high school dropouts to triple PhDs, most of those people do not speak 10% of any given native language. So our entire access of information on the planet via search engines, which is a very default behavior, is driven by our description of something we look at. It is an evolved state. Today, you already face so many situations in your life where you can't be bothered to find out because you can't be bothered. Like, where is that cloth from? What does that shoe mean? Who drew that painting? Or, you know, walking in a garden, your kid asks you, what's that flower? What's that plant? And you make something up. The next evolved state is Internet on Things, where it's not Internet of Things. We already have cloud computing. We already have a super phone in our hands with an amazing camera. All we are doing is indexing the right object with the right information on the web. there's a huge opportunity here.
So I like that idea about it helping people who aren't fully literate or just might not know something, but still that to me seems like it's something fun, something interesting, something I might want, but I'm not quite sure like when I need it. Can you give me an example of some time when you really didn't know what something was or you really needed Blipper's technology to figure out what was going on in front of you?
I mean, that technology has just come to fruition now, so you'll see it work in 2 weeks. But use cases are several. I mean, our end users come with those use cases every day. When people look at a piece of clothing, but they want to know something more about it, there is no way to instantly describe everything you're wearing.
But you use the word want there.
Yeah.
Again, I'm talking about when do they need this?
I mean, modern day consumers have curiosities about everyday things. Sometimes a solution, you almost didn't need search engines as it stands today in mid-90s. Till Google gave you that behavior that, hey, going to libraries is not enough or asking your grandfather about things is not enough. And we are now at a stage where just typing on a box is not enough because the ultimate form of inspiration to people is the world you see. And if that world you see could talk back to you, that is the behavior we are introducing. And we're seeing a lot of traction in that behavior for the last 4 years of work we've done in several categories.
I was going to say, because when I need to know something, I go on the internet because there's really no other way to find out about it. But but that's a behavior it took us a really long time to learn, like going home or even just opening our phone and Googling something. How do you teach people to consistently visually search the things that they see?
Most important challenge for us, I mean, we've been around 4 years. When we started the business, we went after the categories of brands, media owners, and celebrities because we knew to make blipping as a verb, it needs to be influenced by this broader community. And the technology wasn't there. Today the reason you use Google and continue to use Google for the last 15 years, because every time you attempted to make it work, it worked for you. Computer vision didn't reach that level of maturity till very recently.
That's true, considering your company is like a few years old now, and I looked through some of the reviews of your apps, and there are things like, what a stupid app, does not work. I think a lot of people have been trained to think that augmented reality technology and image recognition doesn't really work yet, and you're sort of working against that trend of people having trouble the last few years as people try to sort of prematurely push this technology.
I think it's any new technology faces that resistance because we are one of the early adopters of the technology. Still not generation 1. We consider us generation 2, but our reviews on the App Store are extremely bipolar because whenever someone discovers us through something blippable, they have a great experience. Whenever they hear about us through word of mouth and they start blipping 10 different things, nothing works. That is the reason our evolved product, which comes out in 2 weeks, you will never have a dull moment in Blipper. Everything you point your phone at, you will get content about it. We basically, this is the stage where we become a true visual browser.
So tell me how this is going to turn into a real business, because we've seen it be like a fun toy, and maybe it's useful for people, but is there an opportunity here? Like when I hear this, it seems like there's an opportunity if you're pushing, whenever you suggest information to people, you also have an opportunity to promote information to people and have brands or sponsors or advertisers pay for it. So is that sort of the road you guys are going to take with this, sort of making a Google keyword marketplace, but for visual search instead of text search?
Yeah, I mean, without divulging a lot about the business model.
Now, I want you to divulge a lot about the business model right now.
Yeah, keep in mind that the user here is actually looking at a real object. So there is nothing more, the saying image is worth 1,000 words. When you're looking at a Starbucks logo in Holborn, or when you're looking at an orchid flower in your garden, you're already giving a lot of information about your interest. It is more than you typing actually certain keywords, because keywords are also open to depiction. So advertisers have a unique opportunity to target people by their visual interests. So it's like if a dog food seller targets people who are blipping their dogs all the time, that is the kind of business model we're going after.
That makes sense, and I feel like that would attract some pretty solid investors. You guys have some undisclosed investors. Are any of the big search giants involved in the funding?
No.
You got a little smile there.
No, no, no.
No, you sure?
No,
Not
there's-
Google, not Microsoft?
Not at all. Not
This
at all.
isn't the future of Bing,
Yeah,
is
happy
it?
to talk to those guys.
Better
but-
not be the future of
Yeah,
Bing.
yeah.
Okay, so there's all these other augmented reality companies. There's Aurasma, Zappar, Layar. There's all these companies. You bought one of them. There's so many people in this space. How do you stand out? Like, what is going to make you different from the rest of them?
I think proposition is always one of the mistakes many startups made, that they focus a lot of companies focus on the technology, but not on the business model. And I'm a big believer that technology is not disruptive, it's the business model that is disruptive. And from Blipper, from the word go, our proposition was very clear that we will make currently the advertising and the branded world more interactive with AR, and we will monetize it while we learn from our deep learning engines the next level of visual browser, and that's what exactly we did. I think many of the other players in augmented reality space, they focused a lot on like cool things like dinosaurs coming out of walls and selling their SDKs and doing white label rather than building one universal browser and a platform. And we took the right-hand path of building one browser, so Blipper doesn't create white labels. There's only one Blipper, and thousands of brands and hundreds and thousands of publishers publish their content into Blipper. Everybody else started building apps for third party. And I think that's where, I mean, that's their business model, but I felt that's not the right way to go.
Do you think some of these other AR companies are going to vaporize in the next few years? We've seen them raise a lot of money.
I mean, I hope not. And if they do, I mean, for many companies, this is an amazing macro trend, and I feel there's huge financial opportunity. Just keep in mind, the whole world you see is available at your disposal. And the World Wide Web is one layer, but there's a physical world, and you can create a lot of content around it.
Yeah, but the physical world's also like pretty interesting on its own. It doesn't necessarily always need to be augmented.
I know, but you know, it's like if you can ask that question, you can ask even for the first place, like why do people tweet, why don't people Snapchat? But the trends have already seen that people are interested because people are curious about the world they see.
All right, so you know a lot about augmented reality. I want your quick take on two of the major players, because people just don't really know that much about them or have much idea of where they're going. So Magic Leap and HoloLens, you know, what do you think is going to be the future of those things? What's the fate of those companies?
Both are incredible hardware research companies. Magic Leap looks very promising already, the initial versions of the product. And I think they're working on something which is so photorealistic that it's difficult to diffuse between reality and what's not real. And they have a very strong chance if they're able to really build a hardware which can do the battery life and all the other things. HoloLens on the other side is an incredible product, but I think from the way it's shaping up, I think the enterprise use cases for it is going to be stronger. So I think Magic Leap has propensity to be a much bigger consumer business, and HoloLens is going to probably, before more competitors come out in the next 2 to 3 years, has a very strong chance of leading the enterprise space. And currently in AR, there is tremendous opportunity in the enterprise space.
So this is one of those technologies that to me almost seems relatively foundational, to the point that I start to wonder, why don't Apple or Google do this and just build it right into the phone? Is that something you guys worry about?
Not at all. I mean, they should, and they should talk to us about it. So
you don't worry about it because one of them's invested?
No, I mean, it's inevitable, but do keep in mind that AR, VR, deep learning, these are not incremental technologies. These are the next generation of technologies. There'll be tens and hundreds of billion-dollar companies built on these technologies. And today, the skill sets available to mass scale these technologies is very limited. And sometimes people do get are quite be short-sighted about it. But I personally feel there's a line to be drawn from 1995 to 2015. And the next era of AR, VR, deep learning, machine learning is just going to redefine things in a different way. And doesn't necessarily all these big names you talk about have all the sufficient skill set, because the topic is so big that it needs to be a sole purpose in life and not just a department.
Well, I hope you guys are ready for some advertising overlaid on top of your own real world, because these guys are seeming to make that happen right away. Thank you very much for showing us this cool technology, and best of luck.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.